Welcome to Sleep Deprived. We have the beautiful Steph Claire Smith joining us today. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Good. It's quite funny. It's very fitting. The title of this podcast made me feel very comfortable coming in today because I think usually I have a lot of anxiety over like the night before an interview or anything like that because I have no idea how hubby's going to sleep, and lately it hasn't been great. And I was like, well, if he sleeps like shit, I'll be fine for this podcast. We'll be perfect.
Totally. And he hasn't been sleeping well. I know. I've seen on your stories. I feel so bad for you because I know those days how hard it is when they sleep and you've got this important thing coming up and they're awake like 6 times a night and you're like, of course you are. It's like why has he not been sleeping well? Is he in a regression?
I don't know. Maybe he's kind of in that, between needing a day nap and not stage. And so some days he does and some days he doesn't, which means his bedtime kind of depends on that. And then some days I think he's going to go without and it'll get to like 4 or 5 and he'll want to fall asleep on the couch. And I'm like, no, that's just going to fuck everything up. So I think it's just, we're trying to just find the new routine with that. But he also was sick over the weekend. So that always throws them.
That's so hard, especially over Easter weekend.
Yeah.
What did he have?
Well, he had croup. And then when we took him to the doctor, they just said he had some viral infection. So he must have got it from daycare or something. Oh, I always blame daycare.
I know. Like we love it, but we hate it. It must be daycare. And they're always sick from daycare. And then you get sick and then it messes up your work. It's so hard. But let's just tell people. So we've known each other for a long time. And I feel like not many people know that. No. I think we've done a shoot together. Oh my God, you have a great memory.
It was
Boohoo. And you were the main character. I remember looking at you. Yes.
You were a great photo shoot.
I know, but like there's always a main character in a group photo shoot. And you still are so hot. I remember like in awe of you. You had this like beautiful perky bum. Not that I was just like looking at your bum, but like, and I think you just gotten engaged.
Yeah,
do you remember?
I reckon it was because it probably was about
6 years.
6 years ago. Yeah.
So
I was engaged,
and that was when. Yeah, that was for Boohoo, and I had just done a little bit of modelling, but like nothing much, and I was just watching you in awe. I'm like, oh my God, that woman is incredible.
Thanks.
Like you were just like this unicorn that came into the photo shoot, main character energy, did your job and left. And I was like, wow, that is incredible.
Oh, thanks.
But I know you've struggled, you've spoken about in your stories with body image and it affected you with modelling in the past. How has that been transitioning to a mum and body image? Because I know when you're pregnant, your body changes.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the hardest thing. Like pregnancy, my body changing and letting go, it was so hard. How did you find that?
Yeah, it's really interesting because, I mean, when I was at my lowest point with my body image, that was like when I was 20, so 10 years ago. And it was when I was living in New York and I had a lot of external pressures to kind of make me feel that way. My agency over there was basically just wanting to change me and wanting me to get as small as possible. So from there and working through that, that was a really low point. And then since then, I mean, it's easy once you've gone through something like that to find, when your body changes or you gain a little bit more weight, even if it's healthy and it's good for you, it can be a little bit triggering to kind of get over. But the shift, I mean, it was the whole reason we started Kick, Laura and I, in the first place, our business, was because what was out there in the fitness and wellness space was very much about what you looked like. It was very transformative, or like before and afters, or like how to lose the last 5 or etc. And for both of us, we didn't want to look at exercise like that anymore because we both enjoyed it. There was a time and place in our life where we just moved our bodies because we enjoyed it and it made us feel good. And when we lost that, we lost another part of ourselves, and we just wanted to kind of get that back, and we wanted to help other people have that better relationship. So over the years, I've been in a lot better place, and I think I'm really happy that when I was pregnant and my body did start to change, I was in a much better place in my life with how I looked at my body and how I respected it. Of course, like I do appreciate like wanting to look good or feel good or whatever, but I'm not as attached to the way I look, with my worth as I was back then. I think if I was pregnant back then when I was in that space, it would have been really fucking hard. And I really do feel for those women who are already kind of in a space where they're feeling really insecure in their skin and then they get pregnant, because like your body's going to change.
It changes.
And then like afterwards as well, it's like not just physically it changes so much, but like emotionally I don't know what you were like postpartum, but like
I was a fucking psycho bitch.
Yeah.
I still am. Watch out.
I mean, apparently it takes like 2 years for our hormones to like re-level out, which is fucked. So that's fair that we turn into a bit psycho, but like we're also incredibly sleep deprived. And it's just like it's easy to kind of fall into old habits or like thoughts on your body, particularly when it looks different, or you're putting, your favorite pair of jeans on and they don't fit you anymore and you can't button up around your waist anymore, all these different things. So it's normal to feel that way, but I think detaching myself from caring so much about it and just flipping the narrative to like how fucking cool that we can even create a human and then feed it, for some who choose to or can, and then like our body just like somehow doesn't always go back to what it looked like, but like somehow that big belly shrinks down and like your boobs produce milk and then they don't and then they shrink down too. It's just like, I just find it more fascinating than anything now. And I think the love and respect that I have for my body since having him is just like insane. Yeah. I was in a good place before pregnancy, but now I'm like in an even better place because I just respect it for like what it can do.
Yeah, totally.
So much, yeah.
But it's so hard to get to that place because it's so easy to be pregnant and get stretch marks and just, you don't find the time to work out. You're too exhausted to work out. You don't want to. Did you work out in your pregnancy at all?
I was so lucky. I had such a good pregnancy. I felt myself, and I was also in COVID for so we were in lockdown down in Melbourne for most of my pregnancy, which meant I had a lot more time, and if I was tired, I would just lie down on the couch and have a nap like between meetings or whatever, and no one would know. And so it was good. I could kind of take my time with it, but it also meant I had so much more time if I wanted to or felt up to it to work out. I wasn't balancing normal life. We have to get to and from places and everything. Yeah. So I did stay pretty active. It was only really towards the end where I had like problems with my hips and I can't remember what it was called, like SJ pain or something like that, where I couldn't like walk over a kilometre. I had to like slow everything right down. I couldn't do any sort of high intensity during my entire pregnancy. That would make me feel really faint and sick. But yeah, pulling it back to kind of like Pilates and bodyweight stuff, I really enjoyed it, and I felt like it also helped me after having him, maybe even through birth, but like I felt really strong through birth, and I loved giving birth. And then
it's the best, isn't it?
Oh, it's just the best.
It's so weird.
It's really good though.
It's empowering.
It is.
And I think that's what a lot of women, they get told scary stories.
Yeah.
But did you have a good birth?
I did. I ended up getting induced because I was 41 weeks and I was also just in a place, there was a lot of shit going on outside of it, and I was really stressed, and I was seeing an acupuncturist, and he was basically like, this baby's not going to come out if you're this stressed. And I was like, well, I can't fucking do anything about that. So I ended up getting induced. So it took me to 0 to 100, which was hectic, but it was also all I know. Like I haven't done it before. So, and then I had an epi after like a whole day of labouring and my cervix just didn't want to fucking open.
Oh,
like
he was just comfy.
Yeah.
He wanted to stay in there, but it probably helped because you worked out throughout your pregnancy.
It was tight.
You were like, it was tight. He wasn't getting through those abs. He was like, Mum, I'm stuck behind your 6th ab.
But yeah, I do feel like being able to, and I know how fortunate I am to say this because I've had friends who have had HG and all these different things and issues through pregnancy, which meant that they could not exercise at all. And I totally get that. But I think if you can do something, I think it really did help, especially in that postpartum period, just feeling strong enough to like,
totally,
I don't know, get up and do things.
But even for your mental health, because my last pregnancy, my third one, I could not work out because I had such a high risk pregnancy with bleeding and this, and we couldn't have sex and we couldn't work out, and I completely lost myself.
Fair
because
enough.
Working out and health and fitness, I know for so many mums, like it's literally the last thing you want to do.
It
like
always is,
you get no sleep, you have to cook, you have to do this, you have to look after your kids. It's the last thing you want to do is like start sweating, get your endorphins pumping, but it really does so much for your mental health. And I think so many women forget that, especially when you're a mum, because you put yourself last and you don't prioritize your health and yourself anymore. So that pregnancy, I didn't prioritize myself. I was like, okay, I'm high risk. I can't have sex. I can't work out. I can't surf. Like, what can I do?
Yeah.
And I feel like I got so depressed.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got the green light after I had the baby, I was so excited. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to sweat. Like, I can't wait to be doing box jumps, which is like such a funny thing to want to do because
you one day dreaded
so many, one day dreading, you're like, oh my God, not another box jump. Yeah. But it really affects your mental health when you can't move your body. And I think so many people take that for granted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because did it really affect you when I guess you said you were working out, but not to the full extent. Not to the full thing.
For sure. And I mean, like before I was pregnant, I was working out probably 5 times a week at least. And they were pretty solid sessions. And I could always make more time if I wanted to do more, right? Honestly, what the fuck did we do with our time? I often think back to it and I'm like, how? Like I have to schedule in a 20-minute Pilates thing at home. Like
I know.
What?
It's crazy.
Yeah. So it's different. My routine's very different now. I go to the gym 1 to 2 days a week, and that's when I do my like long strength session that I just take my time with and like really thoroughly enjoy it. So that's 1 or 2 times a week. And then other than that, I'll just do 15 minutes of Pilates at home when I can.
You do it all at home,
yeah.
except for those 2 sessions?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And does Harvey join in?
Yeah, so sometimes I try and do it before he's awake, which is hard because he's an early riser.
Oh, yep. He doesn't sleep. He benders.
Yep. Otherwise, I'll just chuck Bluey on. And he's pretty distracted. And as I said, like, I get enough out of at least rolling the mat out and doing 15 minutes. Like, I don't need it to be long to feel like I've moved my body and have done something for me. So, yeah, if I have to juggle it while he's there, I'll do it. But I'll try and pick a non-equipment one because if I'm holding anything, he just wants to join in, which is kind of cute. But, like, also I just need to get my
And you
done.
started, so you have Kick.
Yeah.
And that's an app.
Yeah.
A fitness app.
Yeah.
And did you start that during pregnancy? Was it to empower women? Why did you start it?
So we've been around since 2015, which was an ebook, and then we had a website, and then the app launched in 2018. So that was, pre-pregnancy. And it's basically recipes, meditations, and movement. And for us, as I kind of touched on earlier, because we'd gone through such a shocking time with food and exercise, ourselves, we wanted to help other women either avoid it entirely or to get through it if they were in that place where they were going from 0 to 100 and just challenging themselves, or to a point where it kind of took over their life and they couldn't enjoy themselves with friends anymore without feeling guilty. And we wanted to kind of put a stop to that. So that's where it was created. That's where it came from. And from there, we've just kind of gotten bolder and bolder of being against, the toxic kind of diet messaging you do see out there, because it's no wonder why we all feel like we want this certain body, or like to lose weight, or to like bounce back, say after pregnancy. Like that's all we hear and is all that's promoted. So it's quite normal for us to feel that pressure. But we just wanted to put something out there that spoke more about like fueling your body, not just food for energy so you can get through the day and feel good, but also like it's totally fine to eat foods that aren't necessarily hugely nutritious or anything like that, because food's also like good for the soul and for fun and joy. And it's so nice when you can get to a place where you can eat things or like give into cravings and not feel shit about yourself for it.
And hate yourself for the rest of the day.
Exactly. It's not worth it. So that's what Kick's all about. But what did happen, we were getting a lot of requests from the community who were pregnant, because a lot of the community, especially the ones who've been around for a while, they've kind of grown up with us. So our age demo is anywhere between like 18 and 35, but a lot of our users are around like 26 to kind of 32. So a lot of them were kind of getting into that phase where like they might be considering having kids, and they were asking for pregnancy safe workouts or like postpartum stuff. And neither of us had been pregnant. So for us, it's really important that we can kind of put stuff out there and obviously have the experts to back it, but it's also really nice when we can relate as well. So as soon as I became pregnant, I became like highly aware of like what was out there and what was possibly lacking in the space. And for me, it was like, those exercises that didn't feel too full on during pregnancy, but you were still doing something to roll out the mat and have time for you. Yeah. And then postpartum wise, it was like stripping back all the messaging about bouncing back or having to have that as like your drive or your worry, and just really bringing it back to the important stuff, like building back up your pelvic floor strength.
Oh my God, that pelvic floor. Mine is literally non-existent.
That's what I mean.
Like one of the girls just asked me if I need to go to the toilet before this podcast. I'm like, it's fine, guys. I can hold my pelvic floor for a second.
But it's really important, especially if you are someone who really does love exercise and you do want to get back into it after pregnancy, without like building up those deep core muscles in your pelvic floor. Like if you have any ounce of prolapse or anything like that, it can do some serious damage if you don't work on those things first and like have that as your main focus and then ease your way back into it. If you kind of like jump the gun and go straight into like HIIT, say, and you haven't done any work in your pelvic floor.
Kettlebell swings. That pelvic floor will fly out of your vajort.
It is, but that sort of stuff like wasn't on the internet anywhere. Like I just saw so much about like getting back your body that you had, your pre-baby body and all this stuff. And for a lot of people, even if they were to, go hard with exercise and nutrition, they're not going to get that pre-body baby back. Like we're different now.
Totally. And I've noticed that with 3 kids. I'm like, why do I not look like what I looked in 2020 after Navy? Like my boobs hang down to my knees and there's so much skin. Yeah. And I'm still getting my head around that. I'm like, okay, I'm still in my 20s. And I said that to my obstetrician. He's like, I know, but you're 26 now. You're not 23. Like, your body changes. You're maturing. Like, just give yourself time and just focus on your kids and get back into a healthy lifestyle and you'll be fine. Yeah. And I think there is so much pressure with the bounce back culture. Have you felt that? Even though you've worked on it, do you still feel that pressure bouncing back after you had Harvey?
I think I'm really, really fortunate with the community that we've cultivated, that like regardless of what I ended up looking like, I would have had a really supportive community around me that would have been fine
with
whatever it looks like.
Yes.
But I think for me personally, I just wanted to feel strong again. I wanted to build my strength back. There was also like, we film workouts, like that's part of my job. So we had a shoot, I think 4 or 5, maybe it was 5. No, I think it was 4 or 5 months old. So 4 or 5 months postpartum, I had to like get back and when I say I had to, like at the end of the day, I'm one of the people who run the business. So if I wanted to extend
and you're very
the
in
shoot,
it and
I could have been
involved.
like, no, we're not shooting it. But when I say I had to, it just worked well for the business to be timing. So I had to make sure that I was ready for that, right? And like strong enough, because they're big days, and whilst we definitely show that we're struggling when in our workouts, it's very like live as if we're there and we fucking struggle. It's also like, you need to still be able to get through. Like if you just look like from the get-go, you're on the floor. Like,
it's
that's
not
not very
believable.
motivating.
Like, if you can't do it, how am I meant to do it?
So it's important to prep. And so for me, like I really wanted to get back into exercise, not just for my mental health, but also to prep for that. But then also I found out that I had prolapse. I had bladder prolapse.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh, cool. What's that? Like, I don't know anything about this. And she was like, well, you're not going to get back as like quickly as you want to with your exercise. We need to like work on the foundations first. And I'd learnt about, building back up your pelvic floor strength and stuff, but not the specifics of prolapse and like how much that can kind of throw you off depending on your level of it. And it wasn't too bad. I think I was like 2, I don't know what it's called, stage 2 or
Was Harvey, why do you get prolapse? Is Harvey a big baby?
No, it's like, so even if you have a C-section, you can still get it. It's basically from the pressure, and like it's for a bunch of different reasons. But for me, I mean, I did have a vaginal birth, but it can have something to do with that. It can have something to do with just the pressure down there. But it's incredibly, I think it's like, I'm going to make this up, but I think it's something like 1 in 4 women actually have a level of prolapse.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like people don't talk about it.
Yeah, right.
Because it sounds weird, like your organs are trying to come out.
Literally.
But if you get on top of it quickly and you work through it and you do pelvic floor, like rehab basically, it can be fine, and it can be totally fine. If you don't and you get into exercise, you can make it worse, and sometimes it's not reversible and you have to have surgery.
No.
So that's why for me, it was so important that this program that we put out there for postpartum mamas was like really all about the foundational shit first.
Yeah.
And then we have a program called Bridge, which kind of bridges the gap from you've worked on your foundation stuff. Now let's ease back into kind of resistance training. Yeah. Before even getting into like beginner stuff, because you do have to ease back into it.
You do, and your body changes so much. Like you literally move organs for this child to sit in there.
I know.
Do you feel the pressure? I mean, you've spoken about bouncing back, and obviously you've got Harvey.
Yeah.
Do you feel pressure to have another child? Do you get that? Because I know after having 3, I literally give birth and everyone's like, so you're going to have a 4th? I'm like, bro, I'm still bleeding.
Yeah.
Why are we asking if I'm having another one? I don't understand what it is with society, but I say to Ben all the time, nobody can just enjoy the present moment. I
know.
And after every kid, within, I get messages from everyone. And when's are you going to have another one? Yeah. I'm like, why can't we just enjoy this one? Yeah. Like I have just given birth 4 days ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Do you
insane.
get that question all the time?
All the time, especially because Harvey's getting older. It's like people are thinking, okay, this like age gap
you've missed
like
the
closing.
2-year age gap. Like, what the hell?
I know.
It's so.
I mean, like for me personally, we would love to have another kid. I really am really close with my brother, and I loved having a sibling. Mm-hmm. And Josh is like one of 4, so he also had siblings. I mean, don't get us wrong. There's times where Josh is like, we're fucking having just one. We're not having another one. Like that's not like when times are really tough, it's easy to think like that. But I think we will, but we don't at the moment. And over the last couple of years, it hasn't worked for us. Just emotionally not ready, and also with work and stuff, it's just not been the right time to go again. But the question is just, it really does need to stop, because I mean, number one, I could turn around and say like no, and there's no problem with that because it's our prerogative, it's our family.
Watch them just stand there like, oh, what do I say?
Yeah, exactly. Or there's like the other reason, I mean, we could be trying and really struggling and no one would know because it's not really their business. And that question coming through could really affect us because we're like, we're fucking trying, right? I know a lot of people who have really struggled with their fertility, and that question is super hard to swallow. So I think we just need to be, I mean, even for people who haven't had kids, like, they either don't want to, or they could be going through fertility issues, or they're just not ready to try it. Like, it's like, why does it matter?
I hate that society has made it like such a normalizing the question, like, when's your next? It's like, why are we number one asking a woman that? Like, just let me enjoy these children that I have now, and it's not even your business.
Yeah.
But it is funny that people think they can have that say into your life and like ask you. And I know you're such a busy mum and you have, you know, you've got your app, you're always working. I know that Josh is a stay-at-home dad. So how is that dynamic? Because I guess I've never met a stay-at-home dad, which I think is so cool that you're a boss mum out there killing it. How does that go? Do you get, obviously you get mum guilt.
Yeah.
We were just talking about it outside.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that mum guilt going to work?
It's really funny because I honestly think I was like put on this planet to be a mum. Like it was something that I knew from a very young age that I wanted to do. And if it wasn't for modeling, I probably would have tried to do it earlier. But I think, so in that regard, it's been really hard because I think I'm super maternal and like, even still to this day, I wonder what he gets up to in the day, or like I'll randomly check the baby monitor just to like see if he's possibly playing in the playroom or his room, just so I can check on him.
Screaming in his cot.
And yeah, like it kills me if I can't get home in time to see him before he goes to bed. Or like if something's come up and I can't have my mornings with him are quite sacred. Like I really try and make the most of it because more often than not, I'm not home in time for bedtime. And so, at least if I can have that morning with him throughout the week, and then I just make the most of weekends. But it is really hard when stuff comes up in the morning, or like there's a lot of late nights throughout the week, because it's not just even mum guilt. I just genuinely miss him. Like I miss spending that time. And I'm so grateful for Josh, and he's been the best support through this, because I think if it wasn't him, I would have struggled even more so. Like just say we had like a nanny, or he went to daycare full time, which I know a lot of kids do. Because that's the thing, is society isn't made for stay-at-home parents anymore. It's like everything's so fucking expensive. Yeah. You need to send them to daycare. So I know for a lot of people, that's what they have to do. And like, I totally understand that. But I think if we had that option, I'm so happy that it's Josh for most of the time. He still goes to daycare a couple of days a week. Yeah. So that Josh also has time.
Totally.
But it's, I just couldn't do it without him. But I am jealous at times. Like I think there's a part of me that would really love it. And, you know, I'm possibly saying that naively as someone who works, because I don't see like, you know, the 24/7 with them. But, it's hard. It's a hard dynamic to work through. But Josh is doing amazing.
He looks like he's doing such a good job. But I wonder, because for me, Ben goes to work. So I'm the stay-at-home parent. Yeah. But I feel this resentment at times. Not all the time. I would say like 99% of the time. I'm kidding. Not all the time, but I do. I'm like, oh, you get to go to work and you get to go out with clients and have lunch and go to the gym, and you have an hour and a half drive each way, and I'm here from start to finish, and it's so draining. Do you think Josh, if you've spoken about it, get resentment that you get to leave and he's home? I know Harvey is an angel and he looks like an angel.
Oh, he's not always an angel. He's definitely a psycho.
But do you think Josh gets resentment?
I think
at times?
I've had him on the Kick Pod a few times to talk about this kind of thing, but I think the thing is like it's not as, maybe it is a bit of resentment, but it's a bit of jealousy. It's like having our own time. But I think what we've done, and I think this is what's really refreshing, right, about him being, I suppose, a man who's a stay-at-home parent, which is not as common, is that he's got a very different, I think if any of his friends or whatever who then have kids, like he'll have a very different perception of what like their partners might be going through or something like that. So whereas like for me, I'm very aware of what it's like to be at home. Like I was like that for like probably the first 9 months of his life, and then I've obviously a lot of my girlfriends who've had kids, like they're the stay-at-home parents. So I've got a very good understanding of how fucking hard it is, and I do believe it's the hardest job that there is, hands down. And so it's really refreshing Josh having that as well, because I think he'll be able to share that with his friends, and I'm hoping that when it is their turn, they'll be able to kind of have that idea and do what I'm doing, which is making sure that he has time for himself. So like there's some mornings in the week, I've encouraged him to like go to the gym, or like, cause I'm home every morning, it's like if he wanted to go for a run or do anything in the morning, like until 8 o'clock in the morning, he can do whatever he wants. Like I've got Harvey. I'll make sure, like, you know, if I wanted to catch up with friends, it's like, is that all right? Not just like, hey, I'm going out for dinner tonight, FYI. So you're also doing bedtime. It's just like, it's getting rid of all the assumptions that everything's okay, and just like, asking the question and like booking things in. And I'm constantly like, it'll get to the weekend. I'm like, why don't you go see a friend? Yeah. Why don't you go and do this?
Go play golf.
Like go play golf. Like, and I think, it is just because I'm super aware of like my friends who don't have that. They don't get that. And they do feel like outside of their partner actually going to work, they also have the freedom to kind of do all those other things too, because they're not the primary parent. So we've tried to make sure that it's really balanced.
And does he do all the mundane chores?
He's
washing,
a lot cleaner than I am anyway.
Really?
He naturally has always done it.
Will he cook dinner?
We balance that. So sometimes if I've gotten home like 10 minutes before Harvey's going to bed, I won't bother to see him because otherwise he'll be awake for another hour and a half. Because it'll just distract him. He'll be like, Mum's home. So I'll sneak in and then I'll start dinner. Okay. Or if we are both home, one of us will go do bedtime. And if I've been home long enough, it'll be me. So he'll start dinner. So we share dinner, but I do all the shopping, like ensure that's all done. I prep the food for Harvey.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He does like most of the laundry. Except we have a laundry lady who comes once a week.
No way.
Yeah, it's the best. But we don't give him... Yeah, we do. So we give her our washing.
Yeah.
But we do towels and Harvey's stuff at home. It just cuts it down.
Oh, so she takes it out.
She takes it out and comes back.
Oh, that's so good.
And it's all cleaned and folded. And it's just...
Oh, that's
it's great.
amazing. And
because there's already enough washing with a kid and like towels and stuff.
There's so much washing with kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like with adult, even men, they wear one thing and they think it's dirty. I'm like, babe, I literally wear milk covered in for days.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's so good. You guys sound like you're a really good team and you just kind of manage.
Yeah.
And you kind of manage. Do you still manage your relationship? Do you find time for each other?
That's the hardest part.
That's
honestly.
the hardest.
It's the hardest part. It's really the hardest. And I think what's even harder, I don't know, I wanted to ask if you have gone through this because we're like, what the fuck do we do about this? It's been like a solid probably 6 months, but Harvey and Josh, when they're alone, great, all good. Like Harvey loves him. As soon as I'm around, doesn't want a bar of him. Like literally tells him to go away, hits him, pushes him.
Rude.
Really mean towards Josh. And like it's getting to the point where it's like fully breaking Josh because he's like really struggling. And it's hard because it'll come to the weekend and I'm like looking forward to all this like family time.
Yeah.
And Harvey just, I think it's because he doesn't see me as much.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I think mum's home.
Little boys and their mums, they have this connection. And I've said it before, then I think mums get annoyed because I'm not saying little girls and their mums, but there's something between the different genders because I have that connection with Navy.
Yeah.
And I've noticed since coming down to Melbourne and getting more busier with work because he's had me all to himself for the last 3 years. And now I'm going away a little bit more. It's the way they're trying to get attention and show you, but they can't regulate their emotions. So they're acting out, and Navy does that. Will be rude to Ben or he'll take my side over something and he acts out. But I think it's actually coming from a place of love. Yeah. As hard as that is to see. Yeah. But he obviously misses you and, he wants to spend time with you. So he's kind of trying to like hurt Josh or Josh.
I get you all the time.
Literally. And mum's here, but, he doesn't know how to really regulate his emotions yet, which I don't blame him because I'm 26 and I still don't know how to regulate. I never learned that. And I think that's why he's lashing out because he's not trying to hurt Josh.
No, I know.
Which it's really hard because obviously it's hurting Josh. Not physically, but emotionally.
Yeah. Sometimes
physically. I know toddlers are wild. Yeah. But it is hard. And I think my biggest piece of advice is to fill up Harvey's cup. Yeah. And I notice with Navy, that's what I do. We try to do one-on-one things with him, not every day, but every few days. Yeah. And whether that's me just taking Navy and Ben's got the girls and I take him surfing or me just Ben taking him fishing or just little things, even just to the park one-on-one. And sometimes I'll be like, Navy, do you want Bambi to come? He'll be like, no, but Sol can. I'm like, okay, he just wants Navy time. And I think that's really important when they get older, just to have that time with them because they do get jealous. Yeah. And especially when they've got more siblings, the younger one gets more attention for obvious reasons. And then he tries to do the same thing. I'm like, that's actually really annoying. That's not even funny, Navy.
Yeah, it's not cute when you do it.
It's not that. And Ben said that to him last night. He was trying to do it. And Ben's like, no, it's cute when Bambi does it, not when you do it. But I think it's really important for them just to have that time to feel special. Yeah. And I think Harvey, he loves Josh and he loves you, but he obviously misses you sometimes. I won't say all the time. I don't want you to feel guilty, but
No, I know he misses me. Yeah. And I think it's, as I said, like that I feel that too. Like I miss him so much.
Do you FaceTime much during the day? Do you think that, because when I FaceTime my kids, I tried to do it at the airport and they had a huge fight. I just hung up.
Yeah.
I'm like, Navy, give the phone to Bambi. Let Bambi say hi. And it just caused a fight. And I was like, you know what? Sometimes FaceTiming just makes things worse.
I agree. I think if I'm away for like a good period of time, like if I've gone away for work, you know, last year we went to the UK for I think 10 days. So I was FaceTiming him every night.
Yeah.
And it was okay. And then I remember one night, it's like it clicked. Like, wait, where have you been? And that was really hard because he was like fully crying. And it was actually interesting. I think I'm trying to remember. The conversation was fine, and then we hung up, and then I cried after every conversation just because I missed him, and I was crying. And then I got a call from Josh, and Harvey was crying, and Josh was like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry to call you, like, that he's crying, but he just really, really wanted me to call you back. And I was like moping. I was like, I'm sad. No. But yeah, you're so right. I think sometimes it's tough. So if I'm away for like one night or one day, no, I won't FaceTime him.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's a long period of time, but it's like a selfish thing. Like it's more for me than it is for him.
To fill your cup up. And
see.
Even though they go to kindy crying, I'm kidding. And how many days a week does he go to daycare?
2, and then Fridays, most Fridays, not every Friday, but most Fridays, my mum will have him all day.
Oh, that's nice.
So Josh kind of gets like 2.5 days of doing whatever he wants.
Oh, that's good because Josh works too.
Yeah, so he does. I mean, he does like a lot of content stuff on the side, but he also like manages our kind of properties and works on a bunch of different stuff. So he kind of like tinkers and does that stuff on those days. And he also, as I said, like he's a clean freak, so he'll use those days as like I'm tipping the house upside down day.
Oh, wow, that's like, so good. So he has like undiagnosed OCD like my husband.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I swear it's a thing. Do you have white couches?
Yeah, well, what? No, they're grey.
Oh, that's good because I feel like
disgusting.
It's a thing when men have kids, they get OCD, then they all want to buy white couches. And
He wants to buy like special things, and I'm like,
yes,
and
I'm like,
point?
why? And then they get annoyed when they get dirty.
Yeah.
But Harvey looks like a little clean. Is he clean?
I reckon as he's getting older, he's getting messier.
Really?
I don't know how that's like. As in eating wise, he's okay, but if I give him something crumbly, like he'll go straight to the couch. And Josh gets like really anxious about that, and I'm like, we'll just get the vacuum out. Like, who gives a shit? Like it's crumbs. Like we'll vacuum it. And he's like, what are you teaching him? I'm like, oh, to be a kid. I don't know. Like it is. It's different when you and your partner have. I think it's been good though because we've balanced each other out a bit. Like I am not a tidy person. Like if you walked into my studio apartment in New York when I was living there by myself, it was like fucked. You couldn't see the floor. But he's kind of balanced me out to like be a little bit more aware of it and like a little tidier. Yeah, I cannot go on saying I'm tidy because I'm not, but like a little tidier. And then he's like anal about cleanliness, but I think I've like brought that down a little bit.
Yeah, and so you're like, you kind of balance each other out.
Yeah.
That's so good. And I have a question because I feel like it's a misconception maybe when you see someone that is like the epitome of health, like you're literally glowing right now. And, you know, like your health and fitness is a lifestyle to you. Yeah. So when you feed Harvey, are you a crunchy mum?
A crunchy mum?
So do you feed him, I'm kidding, not almonds, but do you feed him all clean food? Like, like no chocolate, carob only.
No, he eats
no
chocolate.
packet food.
No, he eats packet food.
Okay, so you're okay because I feel like a lot of mums, you know, like think there's all these mums out there and influence them just feed them all this clean organic.
Yeah, that couldn't last like very long for me anyway. It's
so
just,
you're
like,
chilled.
Too hard. But I think I'm like in between. Like when he was starting solids and stuff like that, like did I make him like bone broth jelly? Yes, like I did. I tried that stuff. Yes, absolutely. I was like,
that sounds disgusting.
I know, he loved
bone broth jelly.
Yeah.
With gelatin?
Yeah, gelatin and bone broth.
I don't think gelatin. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That sounds so gross.
He loved it. But like little things like that, yes, I did try. But and like I'll try and like, so I make him spaghetti bolognese basically every week, and then we just freeze it, and then that's what he has like almost every day or night.
And
just
you can hide veggies in there.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But no, like snack wise and everything, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
okay, so you're chilled like that.
Yeah. But I watched the chocolate thing only because, or sugar in general, just because like his mood completely shifts if he's had too much of it. And I've noticed that. Like I always thought it was just a thing, I don't know, kids on sugar. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But like now that I've witnessed it myself, I'm like, oh, okay, it's like a thing.
And they turn into animals and then they just, that happened over Easter for us. And all I wanted was a family photo and Navy was on a sugar high and he was kind of crashing from it. So he was so angry and he had this big stick and he's waving around and we're at a cafe and it was like, a nightmare. And then, of course, Auntie Bella's there. She's like, it's okay, he's fine. I'm like, just get in the family photo, Navy. I don't ask for much. Just get in this photo.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, I'm glad to know that you're not like a...
No.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you were a crunchy mum, but I know you're the epitome of health and you're glowing. And I just thought, I wonder if you do the same with Harvey. And obviously you feed him good food.
Yeah. Yeah,
but you're not like super restrictive, like you cannot have that.
I think because I grew up in a household that was like that, isn't like very balanced.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Like I grew up with a really healthy approach to food because, I mean, I was active, I loved my sports, but like we were the family that had the drawer full of like the best snacks or the best like chips or whatever, and my friends would want to come over after school. But we also didn't eat fast food every day. Like we had a really balanced approach. And I loved growing up in that household because it meant that when I did go through my restrictive period of my life, I was able to kind of recognize it doesn't have to be this way. Like I don't have to look at food like this and be happy with myself or be healthy. And so I could like kind of remember how that used to feel. And I want Harvey to grow up with a really good relationship with food and a balanced relationship with food where he knows like what foods are going to make him feel energized, what foods like he might enjoy but like not have all the time, like all that. I don't want him to think things are good and bad and like that he always has to restrict himself from the bad and like only eat the good or whatever. I'm trying to remove those kind of labels and which is it's good because like some of his favorite foods are olives, broccoli, green beans. Like he loves them because I haven't made a big deal about it. Like I haven't been like, you have to eat your broccoli if you want chocolate.
Yes.
It's just like, this is all here. And he's just kind of discovered it. And
do you put it all on a plate? Because that's kind of what I do. I'm put all different food groups on a plate and I'm like, it's colourful. Yeah. And they end up eating it. Like you sit there long enough. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have to sit there. Dinner time is a nightmare in my house.
Oh, like, I mean, I can't even relate to what yours would be.
But is it, I don't know if every child is the same, but like I saw this TikTok and it's like, I fucking hate dinner time with kids.
We don't eat with him.
A marathon. No, neither do I. Yeah. But trying to get them to sit down. Yeah. And then a friend told me that apparently a psychologist said that you can only really expect a kid to sit down as long, the same amount of time as their age. So for Navy, it's 3 minutes. I'm like, 3 minutes. I don't have all night. Hurry the fuck up and eat your food.
If they don't eat your food, they're not going to sleep through the night.
Oh my God, I know. Then they want dessert. I'm like, Navy, you literally ate a nibble of a lamb chop. You can't be having custard and yogurt and this and that. It's a marathon and just trying to get them to eat because they eventually do eat, but they're just, everything, birds and TV and dogs and this and this. Their mind is racing.
100%.
And I just can't imagine. I'm the youngest of 5, so trying to get us all to eat food, it's just like nighttime routine is the hardest. But I wanted to ask you one more question. Taylor Swift.
What? That is like talking about feeding toddlers to Taylor Swift.
No,
so
because
related.
I've been thinking about this question. Okay. I know you knew Taylor Swift and I need to know how because you made a Taylor Swift reference about Easter eggs and you're like 22 Easter eggs. How did you meet Taylor Swift?
I met her when I was living in New York.
No, wait, you didn't just meet her, you were friends with her, sorry. How are you friends?
That's all right. I mean...
Can we call her? I'm kidding.
No. But I met her when I was living in New York. We had the same personal trainer and I saw her in the bathroom of the place that does like group classes and stuff like that. I was there. I'd just finished a session or she'd just finished a session and we were both in the bathroom and we just got chatting. There was a class going on, so there was no one else in the bathroom. And we would, honestly, it was just like a really casual girls' bathroom kind of chat. Like, I can't even remember what it was, but it was
Did you know who she was?
Of course I knew who she was.
Oh, so wait, how long ago was this?
So 2014.
Oh, okay, yes.
So like, this is in her era of like her girl gang, Carly Kloss.
Oh,
like,
yes, okay.
I think it was like, what song? Like Shake It Off came out in that year. Like
there
was that year.
Yes, okay, and she was into Stripes.
Yeah.
Stripes. Yes.
Tay fan.
Oh my God.
So I very much knew who she was, but it was probably like 5 or 10 minutes into our conversation where she like reached out her hand and was like, oh my God, sorry, by the way, I'm Taylor. And I couldn't help myself. I was like, I know who you are.
You're like the number one pop star, babe. Did you act like you knew?
No, I did. I was like, I know.
But you weren't fangirling? Were you just acting cool?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who you are. What? Taylor who?
Yeah, but I didn't want to do that, like, because I'd also met other famous people and I'd seen people go like, holy fucking shit, it's blah, blah. And then they'd be like, oh, sorry, what was your name? And I was like, that's lame. No, I'm never going to do that.
Don't act like.
So I was obvious with her. Like, the chat was very natural and normal. But then when she did the whole intro thing, I was like, oh, I know who you are. I'm a fan of your music. But like, That's cool. And then she was like, she said, she asked me about like how long I'd been there and if I'd made any friends. And I'd only kind of been in the city for a couple of months. And I had a couple of friends, but they were all Aussies. I hadn't like made any actual like local or American friends. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I could be your first American friend. And I was like, get fucked. And then she reached out for my phone and said, like, let me give you my number if you need someone to hang out with or whatever. I'm around. I'm not touring at the moment. I'm not making any music. So I'm like around for the next couple months in the city. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And so I was like, I literally said out loud to her, do you want me to give you my number? So then it's up to you if you reach out to me.
Oh, that's
like,
nice.
I was like fully like, this is a lot. And she was like, no, don't be silly. Grabbed my phone, put her number in. So lovely. So I messaged her later that day and I was like, I just want to say it was so lovely meeting you. Hopefully see you around. Like, thanks so much. And then she was like, what are you doing tomorrow?
No.
I'm like, absolutely nothing. Everything's clear.
Wait,
nothing
Taylor
is happening
Swift
tomorrow.
Wants to hang out with you.
And then so she was like, well, I was going to go train. Like, do you want to come with me? Maybe we could get breakfast before it. And I was like, yes, I will get breakfast with you. That's cool. And we went and got breakfast and just spoke again, like catching up like normal people.
You didn't
she was
get
talking
her
about her
autograph?
friends.
Okay.
No, she was talking about all her friends. And in my head, I'm like, that's Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez who you're talking about right now. But like, that's fine. Like,
my
that's cool.
gosh.
Just chill. And then we did the session together. That was fun. And then she's like, I'm thinking about adopting a cat today. Do you want to come with me? It's like at this place in Brooklyn or whatever. And so I was like, sure, I'll come with you. Went into a car, went to Brooklyn, adopted this cat. It was Olivia Benson. I took the first photo of her and Olivia Benson, which ended up in a magazine. I don't even know how, but
isn't Olivia Benson a celebrity?
Is
that a cat?
She named her cat.
Oh my God, I'm so confused.
I think Olivia Benson is on like Law and Order or NCIS or something
I'm like
that.
wait, there's a cat called Olivia.
Yeah, her cats have got funny names.
Oh,
like
she
famous.
calls them famous names.
Yeah. So this one was Olivia Benson. And then she was like, I've got another cat at home. I don't know how they're going to react. Do you mind coming and like being an extra pair of hands? And I was like, of course.
Did she have paparazzi at this time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She showed me like how they would like pull over. She's like, okay, this is one of my favorite libraries. We're going to pull over and pretend we're going to get out here. And so what she does is she like pulled over. They all got off their bikes, like ready to take photos. And then she just slammed the door and her driver would drive off. She's had the same driver for decades.
Wow.
So like she just has a bit of fun with it. But then we went to her house, which was insane. So beautiful, so lovely. She had like all of these ready-made meals in her fridge and was like, do you just want to like eat some of these?
Does she have like cleaners, like everyone around?
I'm sure she does, but it was
they weren't
quiet.
there. There's no one there
when I was there.
So she's completely normal.
Yeah, so normal. I mean, she has like a house that's in an apartment building, but you wouldn't know that you're in an apartment because it's like a house and down the hall is like where her security lives. So like if that's normal. But other than that, yeah, pretty normal. Like all the conversations I had with her was so normal. And then, yeah, we hung out probably 3 or 4 more times, just like went out for brunch, went shopping. She was the one that got me obsessed with Tatcha, that moisturizer, the Japanese.
Oh my God, yes, that
moisturizer.
purple one.
She bought that for me.
Oh my God, stop.
She's actually so funny. We were just like trying it. And she's like, this is my favorite moisturizer. Have you ever tried it? I was like, no. And she's like, oh my God, I have to get you one. I was like, it's fine. It's really fine. They're like $80 a tub. And she was like, oh, it's fine. I make a lot of money. Like she's so funny. Like she's really like.
She seems very down to earth.
Very down to earth.
Cutthroat. Like she seems like she just wouldn't take shit.
Yeah, she doesn't.
She would just be very straightforward. That's what she seems.
Yeah. But she was just really kind of goofy and like normal. And then anyway, she invited me to her 4th of July party in the fucking Hamptons.
Did you go?
Which I couldn't go to because I was seeing my family
Steph,
for the first
how
time
could you
that
not
year.
go? I would totally move that. I'm kidding.
Look, thinking back, I'm like, I probably should have because genuinely, like, she was an awesome person, and like, I sad that I don't have contact with her anymore, regardless of who she is, like fame-wise. She was just a really lovely person. But I hadn't seen my family all year, and we'd booked this trip to Hawaii, and I was like,
fun.
I'm going to Hawaii
Tay.
with my family. And then we were in touch like online for like probably another year after that, and then it just went quiet, and I haven't had been in contact since.
I feel like she's been so busy as well.
Oh, I mean, she's done a lot. She's done a lot.
She's done quite
a few like albums and tours and shit like that. But no, I kind of like to tell the story because I think a lot of people, and Taylor Swift unfortunately is one of those people that I think she's just so fucking famous that people have a problem with her. It's like people don't like you, and like when you get to a certain level of like fame or whatever, and then everyone just wants to bring you down or hate you for some reason. And I like to talk about it because at the end of the day, she's just this like friendly woman doing her thing.
She's just super talented.
And
calls her cat celebrity name Sarah Benson. Sarah, what's her name? Sarah?
Olivia Benson.
Olivia.
But yeah, it is a wild.
That's really cool.
It's crazy.
Wow, you lived a wild life.
Yeah.
Before
motherhood.
Before motherhood. And then now we're just sleep deprived mums. Yeah. Well, I have a few questions, not from me. Sorry. I keep saying I've just got a question.
Right.
People have called in. I posted on Instagram. I don't know if you saw. And I was like, ask us some questions. So
I was intrigued to see
I don't know how. I have never listened to them.
Oh,
so
cool.
Watch out.
Okay.
They might be asking about your sex life.
Hi, Indy. Congrats on the podcast. Hi, Steph. I'm a big fan of the both of you. I've been following both your journeys for quite some time now. I'm also a mom of 3. I have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 4-month-old. Something I tend to struggle with is getting up and out of the house. I do try to make an effort to get out every day. Not always possible, but I just wanted to see if you had any tips or tricks on how to, make that a little bit easier, make it not such a chaotic mess, which it usually is. Any tips or tricks would be super helpful. Thank you. Bye.
Man, I feel like you need to start with this
No,
one.
I was going to say I'm the worst person to answer that. Have you not seen my morning routines?
Yeah, but like you have 3 kids.
Okay, well, I'm the worst person to answer this because getting out of the house literally is like an Olympic sport every single morning.
Yeah.
But my biggest tip, if I had to say there would be one, it would be routine, which I'm not very good at, but kind of having everyone fed and everyone's shoes on and just like having a small routine, like we're getting to the park by 9:30. So we're going to make that happen, whether I have to yell at every single one of you, including the baby. I'm kidding. But just routine's very important when you've got kids. I think they thrive off structure.
They do.
And they thrive off routine. And I think just having small little routines put in place, like we need to get to the park by 9:30. Let's just all brush our teeth together. I kind of make everything fun. So I'm like, let's go brush our teeth.
Yeah.
All in the bathroom, brushing teeth. Like Bambi's putting toilet rolls down the toilet. Like we just kind of make it fun. And I kind of just let go of the mess. Like I'm very good at letting go of the mess. Mess doesn't affect me. Like I just...
Same.
I don't even see it.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
same.
what? The house is a mess. I don't see it. So I just kind of step over the mess. And I'm like, the breakfast stuff can go away later. Like, I'm not going to stress and put it away. There's so much.
Too many other
things.
things.
The breakfast cereals have to go in the cupboard right now. Like, no, they can go in the cupboard at lunchtime. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I kind of just close my eyes, step over the mess, and get in the car.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so this is coming from someone who has 1 child. Very, very different getting out of the house. But I will agree with you on the making things fun thing. Because, like, if he... like even gets like an inkling that I'm a little bit stressed about us needing to leave or whatever, it's like he's like, all right, fuck, I'm going to challenge this and turn into a turd and make it even harder. Whereas like if I'm like, oh my gosh, like we've got to be quick, like it's going to be so exciting or whatever, just like even just like the energy or the way that you speak about it.
Yeah.
I also think that in the long run it teaches them about like time. Like if there was actually an appointment that you need to make it on time, like because if you've got like no routine at all and there's just like no rush whatsoever with anything, like that's not really that's not what life is. Like unfortunately life is not like that unless you're like living out in the country and have generally no appointments to get to, then like fine, sure, that's probably how you can live. But realistically, like we need to meet our friends on time or like get to work on time or go to these things. So it's like it kind of teaches them like we got to get ready for this. But I do agree if you can do anything to make it fun, even like the littlest task, like, oh my God, what shoes are you going to pick today?
Totally.
Like what? The red ones? No way. And it's just like, then they're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to put my shoes on.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm like, what shoes? Like just grab your shoes or I grab them before letting him choose.
Yeah.
Nah.
No.
I didn't want to wear those ones. Do you know? So
like World War III, totally. No, I know. And I totally agree with that. You have to make everything fun and do the high-pitched voice and who can hop like a bunny? Who can run like a cheetah? Like you have to be like...
I'll race ya.
You literally have to be like Blippi. Do you watch Blippi?
Yes,
You have to be like
he loves
Blippi.
Blippi.
I know. So I think that is very important when you have kids. Just to get anything, you got to make it a game. Everything's a game.
Yeah.
Hey girls, I'm absolutely loving the pod. I just wanted to know like your secret to being so confident because you guys look like you're the most confident women on the planet. Thanks, girls.
Oh, that's really
That
nice.
is really cute. You go.
Okay, so confidence is one of those things for me. I think I was born with a level of it. Mm-hmm. My dad's super loud and confident. My mum's confident too, but like on a quieter level. My dad's really like bubbly and loud and like opinionated and stuff. And I definitely have a lot of that personality in me. And like growing up, I was very loud and I wanted to perform for people and like did every arts there was and I just like knew that that's what I wanted to do or whatever. So I'm confident in that way. And like put me on a set like for modeling or whatever, I'm really confident and I enjoy it. But I think whenever I have like if I'm like nervous or insecure about something, so for example, in that period of my modeling career where I was being really hard on myself with my body image, I lost all that confidence. Like that was in the bin. Like I would go to a casting and be like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like they're not going to pick me, right? So I think with confidence, it's always hardest to build in the areas that we're a little insecure about. So for me now as like a businesswoman, like it's not a space that I ever thought I would be in. And a lot of the time I can feel like a little bit in too deep or like I like don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And because I care so much about the business, I like have this like insecurity that I'm not doing a good enough job. And so building confidence is like, that's what I've been working on at the moment, is like building confidence in myself to like know that I'm the right person to be doing this and that I am doing a good job. I don't have to do everything perfectly. I don't have to be good at everything. Like that's why you have a team. That's what I've noticed. So I think it's always hardest to build confidence in those areas that you're the most insecure, but you can get there and you can work through it. And even if it means you have to focus on the confidence that you do have in other areas to build yourself up, like I think that's okay too. But how are you? You do seem like a very confident person.
Do I?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the same. There's always a parent in the house that's confident. I feel like my mum was very, she's a great people person. She's a great talker. She's like, my sister gets great traits from her. Like my sister could literally talk to a wall. Whereas me, I am super bubbly and confident and hyperactive, but put me in a room with a few people, like I get really bad social anxiety.
Yeah,
so my mum has always taught me to fake it till you make it. And I feel like I've told myself that so many times that I've convinced myself I'm confident. But I guess I am confident to an element, but I get such bad social anxiety that I literally would go to events with my sister. I'm like, I'm not getting out of the car. I'm not getting out of the car, Bella. We've just got dressed up. We've done our makeup. Like, you're going, I'm not going. So I definitely, for me, I've faked it till I've until I've given myself confidence. Yeah. But now I'm just kind of like, I see things and I've kind of just taught myself like, every other person is feeling like this. It's not just you. Like, everyone, nobody's looking at you. Like, come on, pull your head out of your ass. You're not that hot. I'm kidding. But, you kind of walk into a room and you think everyone's staring at you and everyone's judging you. And what are they thinking? Oh, my God, they literally think I look disgusting. No one is thinking that. Yeah, and I think 100%. I've kind of had to teach myself, babe, you're not that special. Yeah. Like, I know you want to think you're that special, and it really helps me. Like, even flying here, I got so anxious, and my sister's like, do you know what? This is what I think. You just got to think like you're not that special that your plane is going to fall out of the sky and everyone's going to want to talk about you. I'm like, no, like that's legit. A really good way to think about it. Like, you're not that special that your plane is going to fall out of the sky. I'm like,
it's going to be you. You're the chosen one.
Literally.
It's Laura has she's in a better place now, but she's dealt with quite a lot of anxiety, and like one of those is her anxiety of dying. And like I remember we went away for this trip together years ago, and she sat up all night in the bed that we were both sleeping in, sitting up awake all night. And I woke up to her sitting there and I was like, whoa, what the hello? And she's like, I haven't slept. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, remember that possum we heard? And I was like, yeah. She's like, well, I started to think about it, like maybe someone knows we're staying here and it's not a possum, and someone had like come in, and maybe when we were at a dinner that they'd like come in and they'd hidden in the wardrobe, and so I've just been staring at the wardrobe door ready to like stab them just in case I fell asleep. They would like maybe, I don't know, silence us so that we couldn't scream and then kidnap us. And I was like, holy fuck, like that's where your brain has gone. And then so I had to have that chat with her. I was like, you're not Kim K. Like why is someone going to be hiding in the bushes trying to kill you, Laura? Like you're just... Tried to make her realize that like this is all in your head, that it's not happening, but it is sometimes.
It's sometimes you just have anxiety. To kind of, and I think that's a good way to think about it. Like, you're not that special. Yeah. Like that your plane will drop out of the sky, or that you think everyone's staring at you. It's
funny you brought up the plane thing, because when I listened to your episode with Martha, and she spoke about how she wasn't an anxious person before having Luch. I'm exactly the same. Like I was so laid back and so chilled as a person, and then as soon as he came into the world, I'm like, there is so many ways he can die. Like I'll be reversing out of the driveway, looking at him, waving, bye, like I'm going to work now. I'll see another car coming, and I have to be like, Josh, just hold on to him, because just in case he runs, and he might run on the road, and Josh is like, he's literally like inside. 50 meters or something from the road. Like, of course I would grab him if he went to run. Like, you don't need to tell me that. And I'm just, but it's real. And I think it's hard to we've kind of gone from confidence to anxiety here, but like it's full on. I just wanted to say,
it's
relatable,
true.
Very
It's very true. My anxiety, and I don't know if all mums feel this anxiety, but with your kids, you just want to protect them and protect them from the world. Yeah. I say all the time, I want to move to a little house on the hill away from everyone. I want no neighbors and I want no access to the internet. Yeah. And one day I'll get
that would be.
What a life.
Yeah. I know.
Hey Steph, absolutely love following you on Instagram and you, Indy. I just want to know, Steph, when was the last time you cried?
I feel like you're a crier, so that...
I cry all the time.
Yeah, I feel like you cry.
I cry all the time. I cried last night watching A Walk to Remember. I mean, that's a very sad movie. It's a classic, but I cried last night. That was the last time. But I mean, outside of watching a movie, I think I cried on the weekend because Harvey was sick and I was tired, and Josh and I had like yelled at each other because we were both tired, and then I was like, oh my God, everything's falling apart, and I just cried. And then we woke up the next day and we're like, what the fuck was wrong with us? Like, it's so weird. So yeah, I cry all the time. And I've been that way before having Harvey as well. Like, I've always been very in touch with my emotions and like a crier, but definitely more so since he's been in the world. Like, I'll cry of happiness all the time. Like, I'll just stare at him and start crying.
Yeah, no, totally. And you crying on the weekend at Easter, don't you think? I feel like when these big holiday occasions come up, and say you have an argument with your partner and then you feel guilty, and it just brings out so many emotions when Easter, Christmas, family time, and you're like, why are we not, why are we fighting, or why are we arguing, or why am I not as happy as I'm meant to be? Like, this is what I've dreamt of. And I think that brings out a lot of emotions too. And you're sleep deprived, and Harvey was sick. Yeah. It's just like...
It's true about the holidays. I think we do put a lot of pressure on like what that needs to look like.
Especially as a family, when you've got kids and you're like, this doesn't look like what someone else's Instagram look like, and why are my kids always dirty, and why can I never get a photo of them smiling? And then I asked Navy to smile, and he's like... Yeah. And I'm like, Navy, you smile so happy at daycare. And then when I ask for it, and Ben's like, it's just boys. And I'm like, oh. But yeah, I cried over that. Yeah. I was like, this sucks. I just want a family photo.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a bit much, isn't it?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Hey, Indy and Steph. Just want to say that I love watching both of your content and keeping up with your gorgeous kids. A question for you both is, what is the weirdest thing that someone's made up about you? Bye.
Oh, that's a really good question. I mean, there was rumors over the holidays that Josh and I had split up. Like,
no.
And I was like, what the fuck? And then I realized he wasn't on social media. He wanted a break. So he wasn't on social media over that time. And like, my camera roll just naturally is like filled with Harvey or like the environment or like selfies or doing a workout. And I was like, oh fuck, yeah, I suppose we haven't really had like some like cute moments together that I've captured. But like, really, does that tell the world that we've split up? Like, that was weird, but I'm trying to think of something a little bit
That's so weirder funny. Than that. The things people come to.
Yeah. So weird.
Wow, that's so weird.
It's okay.
So I feel like I haven't had many things. I guess, I mean, I don't really read much. I feel like for me, I can't read the comments. Don't you reckon you read the comments and then it's like, oh, this isn't true? And I just think it really brings you down, and you just got to not read that. Otherwise it affects your mood. It affects how you parent. It affects your mood with your kids, your partner.
I think you only need to worry about what the people around you and like that you love and respect, what they think about you. And then other than that, it's just how you feel about yourself. Yeah. You don't need the opinions of everyone else, because you just can't. I mean, just naturally bringing Taylor Swift back into it. But like, there are people in the world that hate her, and she's literally done nothing for people to hate her. So like, if people hate Taylor Swift, like, I'm pretty okay with people hating me.
Yeah, totally. And, you can't be liked by everyone.
You can't.
It's fine. And it's for some reason, like, people will say hundreds of nice comments about you, but then you just want to read the six that hate you, and then they get under your skin. And I'm like, but yeah, I think... Wait, what was the question?
It was, what weird things have people said about you on the internet? So it naturally goes to trolling. I mean, absolutely. But I agree. Like, anytime, I remember when I was living in New York, Josh and I had started dating at that point, and I got people messaging me being like, I'm at a club. They'd like see that he'd posted in like Italy, and so they'd be like, oh my God, I'm like at a club right now and I can see Josh like hooking up with this girl. And I'm like, he's literally in another country. Like, I know he's not in Italy. Like, I was just on FaceTime with him. He's going to bed in another country. But like, cool. So people are just horrible.
I know.
It's just shit.
Actually, someone did comment on my TikTok the other day, and they said I have a really big back, and then it made me spiral, and then I was looking... Oh, and then I was like zooming in. I was like, oh my God, it is quite wide. And then I'm like, okay, because I used to surf. And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe there's surgeries to get my backbone shaved down.
No, because then you won't be able to surf as good. And like, I mean, I never knew I had a big toe gap. There's a massive gap between my fucking big toe and the other toes, and I'm only aware of that because of the internet.
Because people point it out. I'm like, why are we pointing it out? Why can't we point out my like glistening eyes or some shit? Or my beautiful veneers that I
gorgeous dimples.
No, but thank you so much for joining Sleep Deprived. I loved hearing all about fitness and you know everything you had to say about bounce back culture and your opinions. It was amazing to have you on. And I'm so appreciative. And for you to empower women out there, you're doing amazing. And you're a boss. So thank you for taking time out of your day because I know you're a busy mum.
I've been so excited to chat to you.
And little Harvey. And I'm glad I could finally chat to you because it's been 6 years too long.
Long time, I know.
I know. To get back on that Boohoo train. But thank you, Steph, for joining me.
Thanks.
Bye.